bedtime story to help you sleep. Oh, you are my people. So, I know this is an 18 plus panel. The reason for that is mainly due to the fact that there may be a little bit of nudity, obviously a shit ton of violence, and I swear a lot. I do not have a very clean voice. Yeah, I have no filter, so if you hear me around the con making perverted comments, that's just because of the way I live.
Nature.
Yeah, people were really shocked when I said, if you want to go down the elevator, you have to go down on me first. And so it didn't work as I intended because I expected more satisfaction. So this is a horror anime panel. The reason I came up with this is mainly due to the fact that horror is the most misrepresented genre in everything. And it's the most popular at the same time, which makes no sense to me. And so, with that, I wanted to highlight some of the most popular horror anime that are out there. Not necessarily the best. These are just some snippets of what I've found that I think really relate and resonate to what we talk about. So, as everyone knows, horror is going to be an intense feeling. I get sweet cuddlies from a good horror movie because I like watching people die, but it's always gonna make you freaked out and things like that. It's gonna be violent. It's gonna push severe boundaries. Any good horror movie or show or book or anything should make you think and make you question your sanity. And there's so much range when it comes to horror. You have comedy horror, you have romantic horror, you have exactly horror, and you have horror too. So in the Americanized version of horror, there are 8 core categories. We should all know these by heart if you're real, true horror fans. Slasher.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th.
Psycho.
Drive-through.
Drive-through, yes. Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Exactly.
Supernatural.
Supernatural, yes. The easiest one of them all.
That's also includes like Conjuring and The Exorcist, which...
Supernatural, Courage the Cowardly Dog, there you go.
Yes.
Night Terrors, there you go.
Then we have Creature feature, which is by far my favorite because you love those creepy ass creatures. Like Alien, Target Knockers,
Killer Cleaners.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Are we talking about it or the Thing? There you go. The Thing.
Yeah, the Thing would be in there as well.
Then we got torture porn, which is more of a newer version. Saw, oh my god, that hurts. Then we have psychological thriller. Any horror movie that can make you think and give you a fucked up mind fuck, that's what I want.
Get out.
Get out is...
Insomnia.
Now my favorite, and this is probably the most insulting version of what I typically call it, cannibalism horror, I call it Southern Comfort.
Chainsaw Massacre, Wrong Turn.
Basically, I think of it as the Leonard Skinner of horror. Then you have satire, which everybody should know Cabin in the Woods. So if you've not seen that movie, please see it.
Tucker Hill versus Evil?
Yes!
Evil
Okay.
Dead.
Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, then found footage, my least fucking favorite of them all.
Everyone's least favorite of them all.
Okay, how many paranormal activities have we had at this point?
A lot. Like
Yeah.
6.
They're trying to cover it up as that Paris thing. We all see it.
Now within Japan and anime in general, they only have 3 categories of horror. They're kind of tame when it comes to it. They have supernatural, psychological thriller, or creature feature. And everybody should know the most popular creature feature horror film ever made. Godzilla started it all, for at least Japan. And then psychological, if you want to go live action, take Suicide Circle, or Noriko's Dinner Table.
Or probably my personal favorite, Audition.
Oh, jeez.
And then when you have Supernatural, you just have everything. Rain, Dark Water, One Missed Call, Ju-on. So going through this, supernatural, this is what I love. It's going to include all the supernatural creatures, ghosts, demons. It's going to be stylistic as hell. I have never seen a supernatural anime series that is not pretty. Then it's the most common because, as you know, they love their culture. Japanese anime really hits it, and supernatural horror is the perfect example of culture. So one of my personal favorites of supernatural horror is Hellsing. So, and this is actually one of my favorite scenes when it comes to Hellsing.
Release control arch restriction 0.
I am the bird of Hermes.
Souls are trapped within you. Awakens. It can't be. You consumed them. Your own soldiers. Your own subjects. You're a fiend. A monster. A devil. You. Dracula!
Now, while I like Bram Stoker's Dracula the movie, because Gary Oldman did a great job, this obviously is what I would like out of Dracula. So another son of a bitch. I am not good with technology. Internet came out when I was in high school.
Oh.
So I'm gonna butcher this. So you say.
Les portraits de Picasso.
Yeah, thank God he knows French. So has anyone seen this film?
No.
This, if you haven't seen it, I would really recommend it.
It is 10 years old, so it may be a little hard to come across because nobody has relicensed this.
And it's Aniplex, so if anyone's going to license it, it's going to be Valve.
I would say how you can get it, but I know it's not appropriate. But if you know other means. Oh, if it's Netflix, then hell. Oh yeah, the disc version.
Yeah, the disc version, unfortunately.
Oh God.
Wait.
It is my favorite OVA.
It's a great OVA. It's spiritual. It's romantic. Kind of. I won't say it's not inappropriate, but it's about lost love that stands the test of time. And trying to think of how many people have seen anything related to Dorian Gray, The Portrait of Dorian Gray, or read the book or anything like that. It's very similar to that, so I would definitely give it a shot.
Basically she's trapped in a glass. And she's pretty much, all her objects she owns as a kid are haunting this kid because he loves her and he resembles a person who loved her when she was alive.
Yeah, also, one thing I love about Japanese horror, for especially anime, because anime does so much more with this than movies, is they really love to talk about curses. And I can honestly say I do not want to go to Japan if that means I'm going to step into something that's going to be cursed and it's going to fuck me up for the rest of my life. But here is a clip from this awesome OVA. Oh, and the music is incredible.
They're both dead. Did you do this to them? You? Who are you? Who are you? Why am I the only one who can see you? Why do you have such sad eyes?
Really amazes me Yuki Kaji hasn't done more horror shows.
That was,
Okay, so how many people like Go Nagai? Wow, there's really that few people who've liked Devilman and Go. How many people have seen Crybaby on Netflix? So this is kind of this. So there have been 3 iterations of Devilman. You have the original 1970s anime. This is from the OVA. So it still has that 80s-ish type anime style.
Well, it did come out in '86.
And then you have Crybaby. So this is kind of similar to Crybaby, it's just an older version of the anime style. He is our hero, apparently.
生も地上から抹殺するために生まれた悪魔デビルマン
Now, the ironic thing about Devilman Crybaby, which kind of disappointed me because I've been a huge fan of his for decades, is they actually toned down the violence in Crybaby compared to the original.
Which is really weird.
Which is weird
They
because
did the same scene right there, and it was definitely not as much just feeling to it.
don't get me wrong, I love Crybaby, but it felt a little bit more generic.
Yeah, they really toned down the violence from it. If you haven't read the original manga, it is not as violent.
So I had watched this show kind of on a lark because he was interested in it, and I was like, oh, it's going to be another generic anime. It's going to be so magical, girlish, even though it's hell. And it actually has a very mature, especially for attracting a younger audience for Jigoku Shoujo. Especially the first episode of the original series was based on a stalker. Then another episode kind of had pedophilia take on it. And I was like, wow, okay, this is definitely hitting a lot of really interesting points.
And then this is the first episode from season 2, which is a real creeper.
A cyberbully episode.
Yeah, which I think in this day and age is so important to know how to defend this without going to hell.
Oh, jeez. Are you
This makes me happy that I don't actually pay attention to social media. Because unfortunately, if this happened to me, I'd probably tell them to go fuck themselves.
That was trippy.
Yeah, and here's my little PSA for the moment. If anybody is cyberbullying you, do not suffer in silence. Tell somebody, talk to somebody, or have one of your friends who's a consummate troll go on and reciprocate and get kicked off of Facebook 27 times.
Yeah, that's one of our friends.
Yeah, unfortunately,
He's on number 28 now.
well, I found out you can get kicked off of Facebook for a week, then come back on, or if you know how to make another account under a different ISBN, you can do it multiple times, and yeah.
He's on a 45-day ban right now.
So here's some examples of other horror anime. Death Parade, the problem, I wish I could have shown a clip from this, or has anyone seen the actual prequel to Death Parade, Death Billiards?
Yep.
It's just a short OVA. It's fantastic, and it's what introduced me to the world. Vampire Hunter D, obviously the original, Bloodlust. If you can, read the novels, because the novels are
Way better.
beyond incredible. And then Requiem from the Darkness. I found this on the lark again, and it's amazing. And it's just like all horror anime, as we all know, because we're all huge fans. Unless there's a lot of hype, and I do have a couple of series in here that have tons of hype, so everyone knows about it, and they're like, oh, it's not horror. These are some of the series that just don't get the recognition they deserve for being awesome as shit. So now let's go on to psychological. These themes are going to include so many mind games and mind fucks, it makes you amazed. It's going to include other horror genres. That's the one thing that you have to love about psychological horror. You can have slasher, you can have supernatural, so you can have everything culminating into one. And it's the second most common horror genre, as well as the most common most common anime theme, because every anime has an element of psychological in them.
And with this one, you're going to have a lot of moments where you're going to have characters come in and torture, mind-fuck people. You're also going to have a bunch of serial killers, stalkers, you name it, you got it in this genre here.
E.T. the Killer, if you've ever seen that, that's a great psychological horror.
Monster, which we'll talk about later, is another great one here.
So here's one that I'm hoping a lot of you have at least heard of the live-action version of Boogie Pop Phantom.
And also, we are getting a new anime for this year, too.
But if you haven't, how many have seen Boogie Pop Phantom? It's a great, great series. It takes so many different elements together. One thing that's so prevalent, as you'll see in this clip, is they love to do deja vu. That's like such a... Here,
Well, the other thing also is not every episode, they don't all take place at the same time. Like, episode 3 is about this girl, and when one of the scenes, she's walking in the street and you see this guy surrounded by cops, just screaming nonsense. Episode 4 is actually on that kid, and at the scene when he's being surrounded by cops because his digital girlfriend got deleted, he's all calling out her name, and you see the girl in the background walking across down the street.
And why do people have digital girlfriends or boyfriends?
I'll just do Video Girl I can explain that.
Actually, wait, I can't say that.
You have ultimate games all on your cell phone.
Okay, let me just put it this way. I've been married to this man for 17 years. You want to know how many dating sims I have? 50. There is love, but I'm sorry, there are Japanese. That's we made this deal just to make you laugh. That if I go to Japan and I see a really, really hot man, we can cheat. But anyways, let's get back to horror instead of my whoring. So yeah, if you ever get into a committed relationship, remember you need to have one vice. That's my other PSA for the day.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, internet rumors are like that. The purpose of this organization is to prevent change in this world.
To prevent change?
You see, this organization doesn't like change. That's why they're only observing this world.
Right here? Right now?
But change can only be attributed to humans. They always seem to be changing.
Marita, don't tell me you really believe all that crap.
It's just a rumor.
Yeah, internet rumors are like that.
This world-observing organization discovered something interesting. 1 out of every 100,000, no, 1 in every million kids is special. The organization decided to find all these kids, hunt them down, and kill them. Kill all of them by using people who have powers of their own. These killers look human, but they're not. The organization created them. They're evolved like the kids, so I guess you could call them composite humans.
Composite humans?
They're everywhere out there, and they look just like normal humans. They fit right into human society without anyone noticing.
That's pretty interesting. Wait a sec. Marita, I feel like we've had this conversation before.
This secret organization has branches all over the world. They're everywhere. Even in this city.
It's Groundhog Day horror.
Let me give you an example. You remember that serial killer 5 years ago? The one killing high school students? They were responsible for that.
That's just a rumor though, isn't it?
A few months before those serial killings started, while this organization was in the process of creating composite humans, an experimental drug was produced. One man found out about it. He was a private detective. He betrayed the organization and stole the drug. For some reason, he brought it to the prefectural hospital here. The organization had him killed immediately, but they couldn't find the drug.
There are just so many crazy rumors out there. Well, I guess we can talk now since we don't have anything else to do.
There is one incident the organization can't figure out yet, though. It happened about a month ago. There was an accident. One of the composite humans the organization made went berserk and killed and ate everyone in the laboratory. It escaped into the city. Then, all of a sudden, it just disappeared.
You know, it's funny, but I've started to think that's not just a rumor anymore.
Ever since that day, strange things have been happening all over the city. The number of people who have started evolving is increasing. The organization has sent out a composite human to hunt down these newly evolving humans. His name is... well, let's just call him Snake Eye. He likes that name. Snake Eye is just like the escaped man-eater. They can both change their forms to resemble their victims.
What?
I told you. These composite humans can fit perfectly into normal society without ever being noticed. Snake Eye arrived here not too long ago. He found his first victim, killed him, and took his form. The poor guy that Snake Eye ate was just an unlucky cop he met on his way into the city.
But Morita, why are you telling me so much about all of this?
I just want to kill some time.
You just want to kill time?
Exactly. You see, composite humans get bored too. Very human, huh?
You can't mean...
Yes, I'm the cop the composite human ate. Look deep into my eyes.
Huh? Wait, what was I...
You were writing a report.
Oh, that's right. What? That's weird. Someone spilled tea. Was I drinking tea?
Hey, you want to hear something kind of interesting?
What's that?
It's about this secret organization. They're observing this world with some special purposes.
Oh my god.
Is this some internet rumor? I've heard a lot about those conspiracy sites.
Hey, wait a second, Rita. Haven't we had this conversation before?
And this is one of the many mysteries of the show.
Yeah, and one thing with Boogie Pop, through the light novels, the movie, which is an adaptation of the first light novel, and the series, it's all told out of order.
So this is one of my favorite video game series. In the first season anime, oh my god, I watched it via Crunchyroll when it first came out, and the moment I saw it, I was like, okay, I have to play the games. I don't care if it's repeating itself, I have to play the games. Who has at least either seen or played Danganronpa? Have you played all the games? Have you watched all the seasons? Well, at least you're a little ahead of me. I've played all the games, but not the seasons.
Well, you can play the game.
That's because I lost my job.
Oh.
I have a new job, it's just I am broke still. Anime is expensive. And I like boobs. So I have to weigh my options. So I guess my third PSA of the night, don't drink.
But would that be cheaper than anime?
Well, cocaine's cheaper than anime too, but
Oh my.
well, don't do cocaine. That's not PSA, that's just legitimate, don't do cocaine. So, I'm not gonna, for anybody who's not seen the series, basically, think of, and this is a really bad example, but it's kind of similar. How many people have seen Battle Royale? The first one, the good one. Not Hunger Games. It's kind of, generically it's kind of like that because you have people who are fighting against each other, but there's a mystery element as well.
And that murder mystery is kind of like an Ace Attorney game gone psychotic.
Yes, so the one thing about the anime is it does kind of play out somewhat similar to the video game because it will have those, as you'll see from this clip, some of those elements of the visual novel game. But it's interesting because you have a bunch of teenagers who don't know how to handle the responsibility of living up to expectations when they have to murder their classmates. And this particular classmate had a very hard time handling it. If you know Asahina, and we do have the voice actors for Asahina here as well.
Yes.
For the game.
For the games, at least.
Yeah, the animes for some reason had
Oh, and
cast.
side note, if you want to really get into a good conversation with horror outside of myself, go up to Samurai Dan. He is a huge horror nerd. And we actually talk about that in our interview if you want to see it too.
Nice.
Do you hear me? I killed Sakura Ogami in cold blood!
No, you 86er?
I love the hair in this.
That's impossible! You and she have been so close this whole time!
Don't be naive. Dear Asahina played her like a fiddle. Ogami didn't suspect a thing when her bosom friend brought the fateful protein drink.
No, she didn't. We were in the game room, and Sakura asked me if I could get her supplement for her.
You could hear opportunity knocking, and so you switched the bottles. The devious trap was set. All you had to do was hand her the cup.
It makes sense, but it doesn't.
And it worked. She
Was she
did.
faking their
She
friendship?
did it all in one giant
I
gummy.
thought Ogami meant the world to her.
What the hell? Do you really not know Sakura any better than that? Sho was saying such despicable things. Things about my best friend.
When she said those things, it felt so sincere.
And then, after Sakura drank all of the poison, I headed out of the game room.
It didn't go down like that! Asahina, you forgot something. The barricaded door.
Explain.
We couldn't even get to the body at first. The door was jammed from the inside. That chair was wedged in there pretty
My
tight.
favorite character.
So how did you break the door from out in the hall? If you can't tell us how you did it, then you're not the guilty one.
But I am.
Don't be a fool! Asahina confessed to the deed! You would acquit her over an errant chair?
I have some evidence I think you'll find hard to ignore. In fact, you're the one who gave it to me.
Am I now? What's that in the powder?
Wait, is that a piece of glass from when I broke the window?
Yes. Glass from that window somehow made its way into a bottle over in the chemistry lab. Bizarre, but the mystery doesn't end there. When we entered the game room, did you notice the arrangement of the broken glass? It should have been on top of the cup, not pinned beneath it. There's something about the bottle of poison in the cup we don't yet know.
That's it! I figured it out!
So he is the bigger fan with this at times too.
Yeah, I really am. Psychopaths. Cyberpunk and horror. Well, pretty much here, we're gonna have a clip on what happens when the system doesn't act how you think it should.
Oh boy.
For those that don't know, basically the cops have these guns that register people's mindsets as, okay, they're a criminal, do this action right now. So this is a guy who's so insane, the system can't register him because he knows he's insane.
And I'm married to someone like that.
Under 50. Enforcement action not required. Campus will remain locked.
By reading a bioorganism's force field using a somatic scan, some very smart people have found a way to analyze a person's mind. The intelligence of science finally uncovered the secret of our souls, and our society has changed drastically because of it. The problem is free will has been stripped from the equation. And if man is not judged by their choices, then how are we really deciding who is good and who is evil?
What on earth are you talking about?
I'm talking about seeing the naked splendor of people's souls. I want to see our precious lives played out on the stage of the world. But how can our souls be precious if they're not utilized? If we base our lives on Sybil's oracle and not our own free will, then can our souls have value? Well, since I'm here, I guess I'll try testing you too. Let's put your judgment as a detective to the test.
Hold on! What are you planning to do now?
I'm going to stand next to this woman named Yuki Funahara, and I'm going to kill her. Right before your eyes.
Her best friend, by the way.
48. No enforcement action required. Trigger will remain locked.
If you want to stop me, instead of using that useless piece of scrap metal and circuits, you can pick up the gun I just gave you and shoot me. Pull the trigger and the bullet will fire. It's your choice.
I can't do that. It's not my decision. That isn't how it works.
You mean because I'm a good, upstanding citizen? Because that's what Trusty Sybil has declared.
Crime coefficient 32. No enforcement action required. Trigger will remain locked.
But why?
That's a question I've been asking for a long time. Ever since I was a child, actually. My Psychopaths has never been anything but the purest white. It's never gotten cloudy, not even for a moment. I think my body must be deluding itself, performing all sorts of vital reactions as if I'm a saint. Encouraging me to continue on with a clean conscience doing whatever I want to do.
Help me! Akane! Please help me! Yuki!
You inspectors just aren't qualified to measure my sins. If there are people left in this world who can judge me, it is the fallen. Those who've shown they have the freedom to become killers based on their own will.
I'm warning you now! Let her go! Or else!
Or else you'll kill me, get up off of the sidelines, and for once lay claim to your own soul. That would be a rather precious ending in its own ironic way. Feel it, the importance of life resting gingerly against your fingertip. As long as you're Sybil's puppet, you can never experience that. That's the weight of decision and free will.
Crime coefficient under 20. No enforcement action required. Trigger will remain locked.
Makishima, one of my favorite anime villains. And coming up next is another one of my favorite anime villains with Johann Liebert. This anime just goes to show that no matter how twisted you are, you can seem like the most normal and gentle person there is.
Kill him with kindness, apparently.
あなたはお酒に酔って少年を撃ったと言いましたね。
お前に私の質問に答えろ。
あの日、確かにあなたは少年を殺した後、バーで飲んでいる姿を目撃されている。でもおかしいんですよね。僕の調べたところだと、少年を殺害する前にあなたが飲んでいる姿を見かけた人が一人。
Unfortunately, they only dubbed the first half of this show.
少年を撃った時、飲んでいなかったんじゃないですか。シラフだった。冷静だった。彼を処刑しようと思って冷静に引き金を引いた。違いますか？
違う！
なぜ忘れようとするんですか？それとも嘘をついているんですか？その嘘は他人に対してですか？それとも自分に対してですか？あの少年の罪は確定していましたが、あなたに彼を処刑する権利はありますか？嘘をつけばあなたの罪がなくなると思いますか？なんて重い罪なんだ。そんな重い罪を犯した人間が立派に立ち直ったような顔をして娘さんに会うんですか？どうです？飲みませんか？
か。
警察です。あなたの患者のリヒャルト・ブラウンが死にました。
And Johann does some other creepy stuff too, as well as dressing up as his own twin sister.
So I know most of these that you've probably seen on this list, except for Speakerfur. Unfortunately, that seemed not to be a popular one. How many people have seen Speakerfur? A little bit. It's basically where your wildest dreams become your power, and you can kill everyone with them. Or you can buy off your teachers with mild porn.
What?
Oh yeah, in the third episode. Second episode. The main character's mother decided her teacher, who's a nice, lovely young lady, needed to be bought off with money and sex, and she was willing to do the deed.
The daughter comes home when the teacher's supposed to go to meet with her mother and finds the teacher in bed with her mother.
It was awesome.
This show's big on greed, but also that your fetish is your superpower.
Yes. So, creature feature. It's going to be unnatural creatures, zombies, monsters, outbreaks, things like that. It's extremely violent, more so than anything else, and is really the most underutilized category because you have short spurts, we have tons of creature feature horror animes, and then nothing for like 5, 10, 15 years at times. Or if you do get anything, it's so goddamn terrible, you just want to avoid it like the plague.
Yeah.
So here is by far one of my guilty pleasures. My favorite scene, okay, let's just get it out there. My favorite scene is where the main guy character takes the assault rifle, puts it on top of his big busty friend, and uses her tits as like an anchor. I'm like, okay, that's like all of my perverted fantasies in one take. So here are a couple of my favorite scenes.
Inside the pocket. That's one for the home team. I'm sorry, kid. I was wrong about you.
We should be okay if we run together, Mr. Zoo. Of course I will.
Oh, God.
This would be me, self-preservation.
Let go of me. Damn it, bitch, I said let go.
See, she should have ran after she kicked her.
That's okay, she deserved it.
Oh, God, yeah. So, Attack on Titan is one of those series that truly is a horror anime. Because it has large monsters, it's annihilation, it's apocalyptic.
And possibly post-apocalyptic.
Exactly. But there's so many people who will argue it's an action, and I can understand because the hype, it's geared towards a wide audience, but it truly, truly is the perfect example of a creature feature. And this scene really encapsulizes why it's creatures.
That's impossible. That wall's 50 meters high. Oh, God.
to be darkened, everybody.
Hey, if you watch Attack on Titan in reverse, it's about giant monsters that give birth to people through their mouths and rebuild giant
So it's a construction anime. That's awesome. Wow, and I thought Bob the Builder couldn't get any more metal.
You see metal anywhere in
So-
those Titan bodies.
So we will not talk about Route A.
Yes, let's not.
That does not exist.
Especially with the Re coming out in a couple of weeks.
However, Kaneki is perfect. He would be my best friend. He has bad taste in women. He dies unexpectedly, and then he decides to get tortured by the biggest slasher icon ever, Jason. And I was actually surprised that they still kept the hockey mask in the American adaptation when they took out all the fucking Pizza Hut things in Code Geass.
That is.
I'm like, C2 cannot have Pizza Hut, but we can finally have Jason. But then again, if you watch Fruits Basket, they make a comment about Jason Voorhees as well.
I'm a walking cop.
Yes, in the episode where they're in the forest, where Yuki is running away from Ayami, and Kyo is an idiot, and he hears bears, so he thinks of Jason Voorhees for some reason. A forest and a bear equals a hockey mask. But this is, how many people have seen Tokyo Ghoul? Oh, thank God. I was expecting, like, nobody.
It did air on Toonami.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Toonami was great back in the early 2000s. Now it's, except for JoJo's.
It is getting better.
Yeah, Headline Orphans.
I watched that via DVR because I'm lazy. I don't watch live TV. I don't have time for that shit.
Welcome to how most people are with TV nowadays.
So here is one scene just because I love white hair Kaneki.
Let me take from you! Let me devour you! Every last bite!
We meet again. The problem with a bad date is when they stay with you forever.
Yeah.
No break.
And it even worse when you picture as your love interest later on.
Why don't you chew on this? You taste foul. What did you do? You bit me! I get you now! After everything you've done, you think that would hurt me? I'll kill you. I swear it! I'll kill you! Kill you! Kill you dead! Not too bad. But I can do better.
Okay, let me say this. I can watch every known horror, anything in the universe, but if you crack your goddamn knuckle or your neck or anything, it gives me shivers. I don't know what it is. So our last clip, because our nightmare is nearly over, is from Parasyte. So he knows more about this, and I still have yet to finish watching the series, and I feel so
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. I've not watched the anime, I've only read the manga, but basically, aliens come to Earth and possess living beings on the planet and take them over.
I think of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, hyperactive with more blood.
And with a bit of the fake charm in there.
Yeah, and our main character, these parasites mainly goes to the brains of their host. He, in his sleep, kept it in his hand, which makes for some interesting hijinks later on, especially with his love interest.
But this scene, so my husband here decided he wanted to look for a clip. And he found this clip literally by accident, and when I watched it, I was like, okay, this reinvigorates the reason why I need to finish this series. So please be disappointed in me, because I'm really disappointed in myself.
Oh no.
And anybody who's seen the series probably knows exactly what this is.
Oh, really? You gotta be up early tomorrow?
No, I don't.
Good. Then let's go a little bit farther. There's a spot up
I
ahead.
guess it really talks about driving safety too.
I don't care for this thing.
Yeah, well, you know, you might want to go ahead and put it off just to be safe. Hey, what are you doing?
The vital organs are ruined. My host body will die soon. I'll use the man. I see. The belt does serve a purpose. My only choice is to relocate to this man's body. There should be no difference in controlling a male host.
Yes,
Sever the
there
head,
is.
Yes.
close the host, and regenerate. It must all be done in an instant.
If you've ever seen Your Name, there's an understanding of why men are very, very different.
It feels strange. I need to move. Come on, move.
When I heard this, it feels so strange to move, I'm like, wait until you have to use the bathroom.
Oh.
I was like, then you're gonna have some questions.
in the morning, it gets really.
Well, you know, I have this I have to deal with. I don't even want to think about how you have to deal with that shit down there. I don't even know how you guys sit comfortably. Let me just say that, because I have to move shit around all the time.
And then we've got some honorable mentions here. Elven Lied, Garo, Gilgamesh, Gant, Kabanari.
Now for Garo, I would recommend, if you ever get a chance, Kraken Releasing has released the first season of the live action series that preceded all the animes, and that is beyond brilliant. Yes, my dear.
You didn't include the zombie trains? Oh, zombie trains is good.
That is it.
There's the difficulty is there's so many, so I kind of am limited on how many I can show, and I tried to show a combination of lesser known along with more popular, because there's so many, and the other difficulty is I can't remember all the titles of a lot of horror I've watched, because there's like Demon City Shinjuku, Wicked City. Oh, is that the one with the tentacle vagina?
Yeah, and Wicked City is also from the author of Vampire Hunter D.
Can I just say, 90s anime had a lot of vaginas or a lot of tentacles.
Yes.
So, any questions? Because we got about 5-6 minutes before Roast My Waifu, which I don't get. No, it's awesome. He lives for it. And it's awesome, so please don't take that as I'm detracting.
Yeah,
I just
I
don't know
get
how
to
to make the jokes they do.
Yeah, but I get to be as nasty as those guys.
I live to be nasty. So any questions before I ramble? Because I am a slut in a bit. Yes, I do.
Well, actually, I had a couple more recommendations for the supernatural category.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I have a couple more recommendations for like the supernatural category.
Okay, sure.
Another is I've watched that anime at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, Another's good.
Oh, Another's really good. Unfortunately, I didn't know enough about it where I felt comfortable even with another person being able
And
to
I've never actually watched the whole thing except for a couple of episodes.
Because I didn't want to sound like a damn idiot where I'm showing a clip of a series I have no idea and I have nobody else who can give a reference point.
No, that's totally fair.
I know, and it's so frustrating.
My second recommendation was Shiki.
Shiki, yes.
I completely forgot about that.
Shiki is one that actually would fall under all three of ours.
That's actually not right.
And originally when I started doing this panel, I actually wanted to try to show a horror anime that fit under all 8 categories, but it's amazing. Alright, I love anime. I watch everything anime. But the Japanese, as fucked up as they are, they do not like slashers.
But actually, Boogie Pop would fit the most.
But they don't like traditional, just straight, like, they don't have a Jason Voorhees. They don't have a Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, Japan's most popular horror icon is Godzilla.
And, which is awesome, but for
well,
me,
he's technically a serial killer.
Other monsters.
Well, you could suggest that Kayako Saeki is a serial killer.
Very true. And another thing for them, which I still find fascinating, is they, once again, have tons and tons of other horror. They barely have anything cannibalism. They have like a few like minor snippets, but nothing that can fit like a constitute a full horror genre.
Yeah, they're basically single shot OVAs.
They had the one cannibal who actually wrote a book that was real.
Yes,
So,
they have that.
They
That's, don't get me wrong, they have fucked up. And they've learned also that torture porn and found footage are not as great as everybody thinks they are. So they don't have anything for either, which, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing because I think the only torture porn that I can handle is when it deals with the exorcisms. I love like Exorcism of Emily Rose, those types of things I can handle, but found footage.
Yeah, for in Japan, Suicide Circle is probably the only film that has any kind of torture porn in it. It's only in one scene.
How many people have seen Suicide Circle?
Well, Audition does have that one scene.
That's true.
Has anybody seen it? It's.
Well, what about guinea pig? The guinea pig is all torture.
What's? I've never heard of that.
one.
See, this is the reason why I also do this panel, because I want to learn other movies that I've never seen before so I can go out and binge.
Guinea pig was manga and then it turned into films. It's all torture porn.
I'll have to look for that one because I don't know that one.
Really, there's like 10 guinea pigs.
I'll have to, honestly,
the guinea
that's
pig
amazing.
is the guinea pig is the subject, is you know, your torture subject is the guinea pig or the rat.
Because well, it depends. As long as it's not like the one where people are ass to mouth, because I can't.
No.
Yes, I can't watch that.
Cut out and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, if it's close to human centipede, then
Yeah, the only Asian torture porn I've ever seen was the Taiwanese films Art of the Devil.
So any I guess any other questions before we finish up, or yes? Oh yeah.
We have time for 2 more.
What are your thoughts on The Lost Village?
The Lost Village.
What is that?
I don't know what that
That
is.
is the one where the bus full of people who basically got on to, not necessarily for suicide, but to go to this.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I've heard it now. Okay, now I'm recognizing it. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but the whole premise of it it's fascinating to me because
I know which one they're talking about too. If we want to watch it, it's on Hulu, not Netflix.
I refuse to pay for Hulu. I'm sorry. I can't pay for commercials. Your question, my dear, would be eye patch?
And you'll be our last question.
Yes, I also recommend another. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to pick that up because.
Yes, absolutely you should.
Yeah.
That's real.
How does Yu Yu Hakusho qualify as a horror?
Technically, the reason why Yu Yu Hakusho, because technically Death Note does as well. Even though they're Shonen Jump series, because they have so many elements towards the horror genre. Yu Yu Hakusho, because they have demons, they are actually working in more of supernatural because it starts life after death for a series. And Death Note, the same thing, you're utilizing death to create mass murder. Not that those are great examples, but they're loosely based on it. The one thing is to create a horror movie, to categorize something as horror. The category is anything as horror really has to be based on the percentage of it that deals with a certain genre. It's if it's like 1 or 2 episodes, then it's just a regular series. Oh yeah, this is my husband. But I am such a
Alrighty, folks, we're gonna have to call it quits here. Enjoy the rest of your Colorado Anime Fest.